Hey guys, what's going on? We got part 2 of the Q&A. If you guys haven't seen part 1, definitely check that out. I'll put that down in the description below. But let's get right into it. All right, Colby HF. I just got a boat and I'm wondering what bait would be good for a canal, lots of weeds and deep. I think that would depend really, how far the vegetation comes up to the surface and if it's clear or not. If it's really weedy and to the surface, I mean, top water would be a good way to call them up if it's clear water. If the vegetation is, below the surface, you really want to throw nothing that's too heavy just to get you caught up in the vegetation. Something like, like a split shot rig, something like that is what I'd recommend. All right, next up from Winston Avenue TV. What is your go-to setup when you're not getting no bites? Like, what's your most reliable setup that you know won't fail you? It's got to be the square setup, TCS crankbait jerkbait rod, 7-foot, medium plus, lure weight 3/8 3/4, 6.6 TCS reel, 15-pound fluorocarbon. This setup really has never failed me. I can always seem to get bit with a square bill. KVD 1.5 Bomber Square A, this combo, and I'm good to go. Mad Matt's Fishing Adventure. What's going on, Matt? If you fished a lake for years and water clarity was always murky, muddy, which it is, then all of a sudden zebra mussels took over and made the water super clear and you could see 15 to 20 foot down, what would your tactics be? Man, that is like way, that's like the complete opposite of what I fish now. I pretty much have to get all new gear. I don't have anything for clear water. No, I guess, really, I'd go to, I don't have a ton of experience with super clear water, but, I would have to go like super finesse. Drop shot type stuff, shaky head, split shots. That would be my first instinct just to go to ultra finesse type deal. And just go from there, lighter line, definitely fluorocarbon. That's what I would have to do. So like I said, pretty much don't use anything that I have. Go shopping, get all new gear, light line. Yeah, that's what I do. Mainly drop shot, shaky head, split shot rig, something like that. Good question, Matt. TJ Stanberry, best hook brand. I use, if you guys see my video, I'll go ahead and put that down in the description as well, my kind of terminal tackle box setup deal. I use quite a few different brands, but the one that I probably use the most would be Mustad, I think. Bass Raider 810, braid or mono for top water, lures, and why? Thanks. Okay, I personally would use mono, just because it's more versatile. I feel I can throw more baits on the mono versus the braid, so that one combo I can do many things with. Like an example, you can put it this way, if you want to use leaders, I guess it's different, but I don't like to use leaders. So if you want to use a leader, I say braid would be most versatile, but if you just want straight line, no leader, I'd pick mono. Good reason, like say you're throwing top water like prop baits, if you're throwing prop baits on braid, that braid always gets wrapped up in that prop. So 2, I'm going to throw crankbaits on a top water setup as well. So, I don't crank with braid. Again, I don't want the mono. So, to me, the mono is more versatile. Like I said, unless you want to use a leader. John Ashby, do you ever think you will come fish in Canada? Probably not. I'd like to. I just, you guys know I don't get vacations. I really don't get to do much with my job. She's bitching, I'm fishing. What Fury rod would you recommend for top water treble baits and what line? I'm thinking of Fury CB, curious on your opinion. That's really the only crankbait rod they have. 705 CB, I believe it's called. That's the only one they have in the lineup, so you'd have to use that one if you want an actual cranking rod. As far as line goes, I'd use mono. Fluorocarbon is a sinking line, you can use braid, but I prefer mono. JDog4636, Tackle Junkie, what are your favorite rods? I'm on high school bass fishing team and any tips and tricks are helpful and awesome. I've watched so many of your videos lately. Keep it up. I appreciate the views, buddy. My favorite rods, gotta be the Okuma TCS rods. Like I said, I've been using those rods or playing around with those rods for the last couple years. This year I'm going all in with those rods. I believe I have like 19 more on the way. So my entire arsenal will be Okuma rods. Just using those 2 that I used last season that I've always talked about, they're just such a versatile rod. That softer action has landed me more fish. I believe I've got more fish in the boat with that softer action. And like I said, they're really versatile rods. I can use one rod for so many different things. I really don't need 20 of them, because they're so versatile, but I like having many different setups tied up You know, if I'm throwing crankbaits, I want 3 or 4 crankbaits on. Not that you need that many, that's just how I like to fish. But it's just an extremely versatile rod. 140 bucks retail, won't break the bank. I mean, I recommend the Okuma TCS rod. That's what I'm going with this season. Like I said, you guys heard me talk about them. Many videos last season. You know, I truly love those rods. Flex Rods TV. What camera do you use to film your videos? I only have 2 cameras. I have that SJ cam, and I have, which I have only used in 2 videos. 98% of my videos are on the camera I'm using right now, even the ones that are on the boat. It's a Sony Handycam HDR CX380. I bought this camera, oh man, 3-4 years ago for like 400 bucks. And I see all those guys using, you know, those $3,000 and $4,000 cameras. I mean, I don't see a whole lot of quality difference compared to mine. And a lot of you guys have said just how good the quality is on this camera. You know, that kind of money on a camera to me is just ridiculous unless you're really into it. But for what I do, I feel this one does the job just fine. Frank Lopez, if money was no option, where would you go? What would you, who would you invite to fish with you? And what is your dream fishing trip to fish for? You know, I just like to catch some big bass. You guys see on this channel, I don't catch a ton of big bass. I might lay into a, you know, 1 or 2 5-pounders a year, but majority of the time, you know, 2 3-pounders is what I catch, which I really don't have an issue with. I mean, I just like fishing. I didn't care if I catch anything, to be honest. I just like being on the water. But to be able to catch a double-digit fish, you know, I think would be awesome. I'd like to take a trip down to Lake Fork with my old man. You know, that would be a fun trip in my opinion. Fireant Fishing. Do you do any mods to a specific bait, or do you normally just throw them the way they come out of the package? Crankbaits, you know, I like the front split ring to be oval. You know, I do swap a lot of hooks out as far as, you know, if I want a bigger one or a smaller one. I mean, as far as that thing, you know, I do a lot of that. As far as soft plastic mods, you know, I use a lot of JJ's Magic. You know, I'll dye my baits. You know, sometimes I'll use a little Ardent swab and make little marks on them here and there. For the most part, though, I don't do too much. I mean, depending on how the claws are, like a lot of the, like the Gambler stuff on the, or what are they called? I can't think of them now. Like kind of like the Hyper Freak from Lake Fork. Sometimes I'll cut that paddle. It gives just a little bit different action. But I mean, mainly I fish stuff stock. Besides, you know, I do more stuff with hard baits than I do soft baits. Fireant Fishing, guys, really, I'm gonna give him a shout out too. You know, he does some pretty good work on his channel. Check him out. I'll link him below. He's doing a kind of like a boat rebuild. He got an aluminum boat and he's set it up for a while now. And I've really enjoyed his videos. Like I said, I'll link him below. Check him out. And he's got some cool videos. Lisa, I don't want to say your last name wrong. Ramboot, something like that. Ramboot. Hopefully I didn't say that wrong or butcher your last name. Go-to bait during the pre-spawn. How do you rig it? I fish muddy water. You know, I can't see anything as far as, you know, if there's a bed in front of me. I have no idea. So I mean, pre-spawn to spawn, you know, I'm just searching. That's all I'm doing. So, you know, I'm sure I got one right here in the package. KVD 1.5 or the Bomber Square A is pretty much, you know, how I fish pre-spawn to spawn. You know, I can't see if the fish are moving up or not, and or if they're on beds. Like I said, I have like zero visibility on the lake that I fish, so I pretty much target, you know, hard bottom areas along the dam, a lot of the rock, stumps and things like that, and I'll just, you know, crank those areas with a crankbait, obviously, spinnerbait. You know, if I don't believe they're up as shallow as they should be for bed fishing, you know, I'll step down to like a DT6, DT10 and cover some deeper water around those hard bottom areas. But, you know, come to spawn and all that, when I think they should be on beds, you know, square bill's the deal for me, just because I can't see anything. I'm just trying to cover water and find fish. So mainly crankbaits. Like I said, if I think they're on beds, or if maybe they're staging, they're not quite up on beds, I'll throw, like I said, the deeper crankbaits, DT6, DT10s. That's pretty much the only deeper crankbaits that I throw. I just like the action on those. It's a little bit tighter in colder waters. Normally when I crank a little bit deeper, so I like that tighter action on them. They got some great colors. Not a huge, or not a really loud rattle in them. It's kind of softer, but you know, they work pretty well. One of my go-tos right there, DT10. I believe the color's old school. Shows up really well in muddy water. Chris Caps, what's your recommended weight size for drop shot in shallow water, 3 to 6 feet? You know, drop shot, you want to stay on the bottom. So, I mean, shallow water you can get away with, you know, 3/16, quarter, eighth maybe. You know, the deeper you go, if you want to get down there faster, you want to use that heavier weight. If you're trying to cast it, you know, if it's windy, obviously heavier weight. But if you're only going 3-6 feet, you know, 3/16, quarter, just fine. You just want to make sure that you can feel the bottom. And that's what I would use, 3/16 to a quarter. Bass fishing Wisconsin. Can you make a bed fishing video? I'd like to, but like I said, fishing that muddy water, you know, I can't see anything, so I have no idea what I'm pitching to. You know, I'm not the best person for a bed fishing video. Appreciate the question though. Bass fishing in Wisconsin. What kind of baits do you recommend for bed fishing? You know, just from what I've seen guys do, you know, creature baits work well, tubes. I see a lot of guys pitch tubes around. And I don't believe color, again, I don't have a lot of experience with this, so just take what I say, you know, with a grain of salt. You know, I just from what I've seen and heard and read and all that, you know, color doesn't make a huge difference because they're more in defense mode, I believe, when they're on a bed. They just don't want anything on their bed. You just want to use a color that you can personally see. That way when they bite it, you can set the hook. But I'm sure there's plenty of guys out there that got bed fishing videos. You know, just type that in on YouTube and you can find out some good ones. But like I said, I really can't help you out on that. If I had clear water where I could bed fish, a white tube is probably what I'd use. Jig King, what bait caster should I buy? I have a Texas rig rod, a spinnerbait rod, and I'm gonna buy a square bill finesse rod. Jig, Texas rig, spinnerbait, square bill. Probably the most versatile gear ratio you get to be a 6-speed. You know, like 6.3, 6.6, something in that range. You know, that way it's not too fast, not too slow. It's right in the middle. You can speed it up or slow it down. You know, 6.6, 6.3 is what I'd recommend as far as gear ratio goes. And just get whatever's in your price range. I mean, you know, the CTs, Daiwa's $130 range. You can get the Type R's $200 range. You can get the TCS here, Okuma, $200 range. Bass Pro Shops Pro Qualifier is originally $100, but the classic sale starting on the 17th, I believe, of February, it's $50 for the Pro Qualifier. That's an excellent reel for the price. Bass Boys, what's your favorite rod and reel, and what's your favorite spring bait? Favorite rod and reel. You guys know I love shallow cranking. It's going to be the, let's go ahead and pan over here to the rods once again. Favorite rod and reel, spring bait, it's going to be the Okuma TCS crankbait jerkbait rod, 7-foot, medium plus, moderate action to it. TCS 6.6, 15-pound fluorocarbon. KVD 1.5 or Bomber Square A. That's my go-to setup there for spring fishing. I just love tossing a square bill, and you know, that's the combo that gets it done for me. JK Dubs 2, why don't you do more collaborative videos with Lunkers or Gene? I don't believe I'm really even close to those guys, for one, and two, my schedule just doesn't allow me to travel like I believe both of those guys just do YouTube for a living. I don't, and you know, the few days off I have a week, I just want to spend here fishing on my lakes, spending time with the family. I'm not one of those guys that just want to travel all the time and you know, be gone all the time and fish. So I don't see me really doing any type of traveling type videos. I'm a family man, you know, I got to take care of the kids, I got the wife, the dog, you know. I couldn't be gone for a week at a time. You know, my wife's a very busy person. I got to help her out as well. So, you know, I'm pretty satisfied here just fishing the local lakes, just doing what I do. So I don't really see me traveling to fish really with anyone. You know, unless they're local. I don't mind fishing with local guys, doing something like that. But as far as driving, have to like, you know, fly somewhere or drive, you know, a good distance, you know, to meet up and stay there for a few days and all that, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Fishing Junkie 55. What frog rod would you recommend for under $150? Well, I can show you guys my frog rod. I don't keep coming back to these three main rods here, but guys, these rods are that versatile. I mean, I use these rods for a lot of different things. TCS jig worm rod is what I use for frogs. It's 7-foot, it's a heavy, it's got a moderate action to it. It allows the bass to get the bait just a little bit better. Jig worm rod, TCS, Okuma, retails $140. Zach Massey, what lure and why? When do you use it the most? You know, KVD 1.5 Bomber Square A. I'm sure you guys are like sick of me talking about these two baits. But you know, these baits here, I mean, they just flat out catch fish. I fish in that stained, muddy water, not much visibility. Majority of the time, I'm just searching for fish. If I see a stump or something like that, you know, I'll pitch to it with a soft plastic or a jig, but majority of the time, I'm searching. And those two baits, you know, they just get bit. You know, it's a bait I can cover a lot of water with, fast, and they catch fish. You know, if it's not one of those, it's going to be a spinnerbait. And that's the main two baits I throw, you know, a lot. You know, I have those baits tied on all the time. All right, last question here from Jacob Miller. How do you ship rods once you sell them? Great question here. I just actually shipped another rod the other day, sold one off. What I do, I go to Home Depot or I go to Lowe's and I go to the carpet section, and normally they have all the old carpet tubes standing up, and they're free. They don't care. I mean, we'll ask first, but I mean, I ask them. They don't care, so I usually go in there, grab a few on the way out. I say, hey, can I take these? They don't care. You know, I already know my stores don't mind. Just ask before you take them. But they're usually pretty long. I bring a hacksaw with me. I cut them down in the parking lot so they'll fit my truck or fit the rod that I need to ship. But like I said, they're free. I bet I've shipped, man, I've been selling quite a few rods for the last few years. I bet I've shipped 40, 50 rods, you know. Maybe not that many, but I've yet to break a tube is what I'm saying here. The carpet tubes, and they're not as heavy as PVC. Obviously, PVC is going to be a way to go because you're not going to break it, you know. Well, I'll take that back. I've had my first Dobbins rods shipment that was shipped to me. That was in a big PVC tube, and that came busted, believe it or not. So I'm not going to say PVC won't bust because it did bust. It's more durable though than the cardboard carpet tubes, but with all the guys that I've shipped to, I've never had one of those tubes get damaged. So I'm just going to continue to use the carpet tubes from like Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever store carries carpet. They'll have those tubes in the back. I'm sure they're just, you know, keeping them around to recycle or do whatever with, or somebody to take them like me. But carpet tubes work good for me. And I just wrap the rod in bubble wrap. I put wrap on the ends, and then I just use actually a Gorilla tape for either end. And I've never had the tape get busted through or anything like that. Gorilla tape works really well. So the carpet tube and Gorilla tape is how I ship rods. Guys, we're going to end this here. It looks like it's going to be a long one. Sorry if I didn't get to all the questions. We'll do another one of these here soon. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.